This episode contains content that may be alarming to some listeners. A general discussion of shitty things that artists have done will take place. Please check the show notes for more detailed descriptions, and thank you for listening.
What do you want from me? I'm just an amateur, baby. I never thought I would get this far.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. This is Amateur Hour, a multidisciplinary dive into the arts and creativity. My name is Antonio Morales,
My name is Michael Sullivan.
And my name's Joey Noxcar.
and we are the Musketeers 3.
Wow.
Before we get into our topic for today, I have a little vocal warm-up
Nice.
or introduction that we can try out. Both are improv related.
Hell yes.
I have a couple different warm-ups we could try. One is essentially we make up a story, one word at a time.
Nice.
Nice.
The other one is we find a prompt online and then we just kind of build on that prompt and act it out a little bit.
Why not both? I want to try the one word at a time one, though.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I'll start. Once
Upon
A
time,
there
wasn't
any
dinosaurs.
sad.
period.
Wow.
That was a
That was a short, sad story.
yeah.
All right. Here's another one. Let's start it with
Screw Ernest Hemingway and his fucking unused baby shoes one.
babies
Are
The
unruliest.
bastards.
of
My.
Kingdom.
exclamation mark.
Good.
One more. You want to start off, Joey?
Yeah. Famine.
Comes
Once
In
every
Irishman's
hovel.
a hovel.
It's like a hut
Oh,
or like a dreary little dwelling.
a thatched roof cottage.
Yeah.
and
I
one.
two.
Irishman?
Factually, that's correct.
Okay. Yeah. There we go.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in this week. Hey, fun fact. Did you guys know that in 1850, before the famine in Ireland, there was like 6 million people. And just now, they reached 5 million people.
Oh my
No
god.
way.
Yep. Oliver Cromwell was a big old piece of shit.
Jesus Christ.
So that really sets the mood.
And
Yep.
good thing, too, because we're going to talk about a nice and happy topic today. It's separating the art from the artist.
Yes.
I'm actually really excited to talk about this, not for like a maudlin reason of wanting to dissect something really gross, but this is something I think about all the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Particularly in music when I hear like a banger that is like made by a terrible person and I'm having conflicted happy step jumps
Yep.
to it, you know, like fuck, this sucks.
Well, they make those beats catchy for a reason.
Oh yeah.
I know. It's mind control.
So the two main arguments are art is autonomous. Great art must stand on its own. And then art is an extension of the artist and their vision and therefore cannot exist without the artist.
One, I have a problem with saying art must stand on its own because typically you have to hang it on a wall or something. But I don't tiss. All right.
We'll be here all week, ladies and gentlemen.
Be here for 20 more minutes.
Yep. Before we take a break and then come back.
But yeah, essentially the main topic is, can you separate the art from the artist? And if you can, what makes it belong to the artist specifically?
I think it's a really complicated question because just for me personally, I don't think I have a definite answer because there are artists that I can separate from their art. And then there are ones that I cannot. Like,
Yeah.
just in my own personal experience. One of the examples that I've been thinking about a lot frequently is Terry Gilliam. He's a director. He was one of the original Monty Pythons. He directed Monty Python's Holy Grail, Baron Munchausen, Brazil, a lot of movies that were very important to me growing up. And thought that he was a decent dude, but it was sometime in the last year where he said some pretty nasty transphobic things.
Oh, God.
And also that the Me Too movement is ruining Hollywood.
Oh, my God. That was that guy?
Yep.
Well, there's
One
a
of 'em.
trend with the pythons too, man.
Yeah,
Fucking
really?
John Cleese.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
he's been sticking up for J.K. Rowling.
Ah,
But
fucking
to
Christ.
to his credit, he's not defending her transphobic comments. He's just defending her right to say them, which
What kind of a stance is that?
I don't think I think that he's very much missing the point of people being upset.
Right.
They're not upset that J.K. Rowling has the freedom of speech. It's that she's being a shithead.
It's how she's using that freedom of speech.
Yeah. That's actually another great example of separating the art from the artist. I actually just recently started rereading the Harry Potter books,
Mhm.
and I still love them very much. It is interesting noticing the things that are kind of buried in the story, where
Right.
it's showing that JK is pretty shitty.
The subtle, not so subtle racism.
Yep. But that said, I do feel better about that because we already own the books, so she's not getting any more money from me.
Well, as you can see, it's a super complicated issue here because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times you don't realize the source of the art that you've consumed and enjoyed. Well, sometimes you never figure out that the source it came from is like a shitty person, and
Yep.
and most times you figure out that the thing you love was made by a shitty person well after you've discovered it too.
Right.
So
right.
like,
well, after they're dead, even.
yeah, exactly, and it's actually to the Harry Potter point. I mean, I think Daniel Radcliffe came out after that first boomed with some of J.K. Rowling's really shitty statements and had like a very heartfelt message like. Listen, the memories and affection you share for these stories are still valid, even though that this lady said this really shitty thing.
Yeah, I really appreciated his message. It's like the stories belong to you still.
Yes. Well, that's a really good point here. Does the art belong to you after you've made a sort of bond with it? Is it your? In that sense, it is kind of extrapolated or extracted from the artist in that way, is it not?
Right. The whole idea of separating art from the artist itself is actually a pretty modern ideology.
Mm.
It came sometime in the 20th century, I think, from the New Criticism. They were essentially people that were taking old literature and critiquing them in a way where it's like, oh yeah, a bunch of these old poets were shitty. But their poems still live up to this day, and like they hold up. So essentially, they are bringing this idea that like art can exist on its own beyond the artist, but they see it very scientifically, kind of like a here's the art, but keep in mind that the artist still existed.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting because, especially with poetry and literature, there's so much debate going on when people are studying things where like people will say the author wrote that the curtains were blue because that's representing their sadness and blah blah, and another person can say like, no, they wrote that the curtains are blue because they were fucking blue and they just wanted more detail in the scene
because they had blue curtains at the time.
Yeah, and so there's this huge argument where once you create a piece of art, it is out in the world, it's now open to everyone else's interpretation, and you're not going to be able to go and correct everyone that's misinterpreting your art.
Right. And that way art really gets away from the artist.
Exactly, yeah. And it does belong to the viewer at that point.
Mm-hmm.
No, I guess that does raise. So if we're positing the idea that once you release it in the world, it's no longer yours, it's whoever consumes it. Is it morally cloudy to enjoy a piece of art made by a shitbag at that point? Because I'll be honest, I love. I mean, we're gonna talk a lot about shitty people and shitty things they may or may not have done. But like every time I hear a Michael Jackson tune, I'm
Yeah.
like,
Right.
this is an absolute banger, but gross. There's
Yep.
some
Yeah,
grossness to it
right.
now.
Yep.
I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but it has like a memorable feeling for me. Like growing up, my parents introduced me to Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the only things that I actually have in common with them too. Kind of stemmed into my love for Justin Timberlake too.
Yeah.
And he is not one without problems.
Yeah.
So in that regard, it's like, can you enjoy art when you know that these people are shitty?
Again, I think that's a really complicated answer and question. Because, like, yeah, there's definitely media and art that I now can't bring myself to consume because I know more about the person behind it. But then there is also stuff where I still can, but I think that it's important to recognize the faults of the person.
Right.
Like Quentin Tarantino, perhaps.
Yeah. That's actually a very... one of the people that always comes up when I have this conversation about separating the art from the artist.
Well, I think that brings up a good point too, is like the difference between recognition and admiration.
Yes.
Because you can definitely recognize art for what it is and still be inspired by it, but not necessarily admire it.
That's a very, very good point. Yeah.
Because we constantly kind of are influenced by art around us. So we'll start to take heavy influence from stuff like that without even realizing it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sometimes it can be crushing when you realize that one of your largest influences is a terrible person.
Right.
But, like, realizing one of your important influences was a shitbag, the influence that they had on you personally doesn't go away.
Right.
Like, you still have that inspiration, that part of your taste. It can definitely still change how you view it. And also, I find it really unfortunate when, like I was talking about Terry Gilliam, it's really difficult for me to rewatch his movies now.
Yeah.
And even though Baron Munchausen and Time Bandits are some of my favorite movies from childhood, probably shouldn't have been watching those as a child. Now that I'm thinking about it, they're pretty dark. I still have some parts of my taste that are definitely informed by those. But yeah, revisiting them does leave a bad taste in my mouth now. And I find that unfortunate.
Well, let's think about why that is, and I think that'll lead into something else that is definitely always talked about with this. Is do we feel morally cloudy about enjoying bad art because we feel gross about the things that this person or persons may have done, or is it because of how others would perceive us for enjoying the art made by a shitty person?
Like bad art and bad people at the same time?
So what I'm saying is, do people avoid art made by people who have been found to be shitty because they just are morally opposed to enjoying that art because it came from a shitty source, or are they worried about how others would perceive them for enjoying that art?
Gotcha.
Because I think it's a little of column A, a little of column B, to be honest with you. Because
yeah, definitely with me also.
Yeah, to go back to Harry Potter, especially once J.K. Rowling came out with all these really shitty remarks, it's like all of a sudden you got worried, like, oh, if I enjoy Harry Potter, people are going to assume that I'm transphobic or something like that, which is maybe not the most intellectual way to approach problems, but it's a very human way to think about those kinds of things sometimes. Right. And I don't think either of them are necessarily invalid, but that leads to the idea of cancel culture and how that operates within all of this too.
Yes, good to bring it up. First of all, is cancel culture real?
It can be, but for the most part, I don't think it has the effect people lend it.
Yeah.
I definitely think that for the most part, people get quote unquote canceled and they get yelled at for a couple of months, and it maybe might have an impact on their career. But I could definitely be wrong with this. Again, I'm an amateur. I've done like no research for
Please
this.
don't sue us.
What?
Please don't sue us.
Please don't.
Oh God, please. Please don't sue us for slander.
I have
Or-
no monies.
Oh my God. No.
That's a good point. Yeah, I feel like history proceeds without these people that we
Yeah.
are supposedly canceling
Mhm.
because we don't need them. If it was truly cancel culture, then, people who aren't shitty would be getting canceled. Not that that doesn't happen. Like,
Yeah.
there's misinformation everywhere.
Mhm.
But for the most part, people are just being more informed and being more selective of what they consume.
Yeah, and who they give money to.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
Can we, for a moment, define cancel culture? Just because I've never sat down and really thought about what that term exactly means. I think we all have a cultural osmosis where we know what it is. But like, cancel culture may be defined by like the detractors against what it is an overreaction of an internet crowd generally,
Yeah.
where a mob will hunt down and destroy the career or life of someone that, in their opinion, they just don't like.
Yeah.
I think what they're perceiving is how the internet now allows people and groups to more quickly find information about
Mhm.
individuals that they either like because they're an artist or this or that, and more quickly disseminate this information like, hey, this person actually did a really shitty thing.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I mean, the most recent example I can think of is the Dr. Seuss books.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was seen by a lot of opposition or supporters, I don't know what you would call them, as a cancel culture. It's like, oh yeah, he has a bunch of books, but I'm not gonna stop supporting him because of it. I don't think you should take these books off the shelf just because they have some depictions of illustrations. I want to support him. And I don't think that they were like understanding the reason isn't, oh yeah, we should stop reading Dr. Seuss. It's we should take these depictions that he clearly had bias against and maybe just leave the good stuff.
Yeah, or just recognizing that he wasn't a perfect individual. He was a man who grew up in like the 30s.
Well, he was making World War II.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was probably born in the 10s or 20s, I'm guessing.
Wasn't he a dirty man?
He was a dirty philandering man.
Before he started making children's books, I think he was making a lot of pornography.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Just going out there cheating on his wife too.
Yeah,
a
that
lot
too.
Of that.
Yeah.
As a personal anecdote about how the people who are most detracting against cancel culture are also most susceptible to misinformation. I can
Yes.
tell you from my experiences at my shop where I work at,
God.
which is
boy.
predominantly white dudes who are of the conservative variety. When this Dr. Seuss fiasco dropped, they were like all up in arms about it, and I was and they kept talking about like, I'm gonna get my daughter green eggs and ham, and I don't give a fuck. And I was like, guys, what books do you think are not going to be on the shelf? And they were like, yeah, Cat in a Hat. I'm like, no. And I had to explain to them like there are a few books here before the ones that you knew about and read as a kid, where there's some really shitty drawings of not white people that he did, and they're like, what book is that? I was like, exactly. Yeah, you're not gonna miss this book, dog.
Yeah.
Like, what?
You already weren't aware about it, and so much of this reaction of like, my God, they're gonna get canceled. It's like, no, not necessarily. I don't want people to stop reading Cat in the Hat.
My child will grow up with green eggs and ham. Damn it!
God damn it! I don't care. It's not saying no one should enjoy Dr. Seuss stuff. It's saying we should also recognize that he was probably racist because he was born in the 10s or whenever.
Yeah,
and maybe his views expanded and his thoughts on the people who he depicted poorly changed. I hope so. We don't know because he's dead.
Yeah.
But it is important to recognize that, he did a shitty thing.
Yeah. And to tie that back to what we were discussing just before that was the idea that people may not want to enjoy a piece of art that they found came from like a shitty source because one, they're morally opposed to it, but they might be worried about how the public perceives them. And I think that it kind of evolved from what we call cancel culture now is like, am I allowed to enjoy this art that was made by a shitty person? And I think the too long didn't read answer is yes.
Yeah.
And there's an asterisk. There's a big asterisk there.
The answer is it depends.
It really depends. The idea that I boycott Kanye West is not going to affect Kanye West at all.
Right, no. Right.
Like the fact that I choose not to listen to Donda or anything like that is not going to affect the fortune of Kanye West.
Well, like with Shang-Chi, the new movie for Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you guys heard about Awkwafina, the actress. But
Awkwafina?
She often is seen in interviews and stuff with a black scent. And so a lot of people are like, I'm not going to go support Shang-Chi because of Awkwafina. And it's like, is that really going to help? Like, you're not really boycotting Marvel or anything. You're just boycotting this, like, all Asian cast.
I was just going to say maybe the most representation in it that Asians have gotten in a superhero movie and forever, perhaps.
Right. Like the actions or the decisions from Marvel to cast Awkwafina shouldn't deter you away from the other great accomplishments that this movie is going to bring.
Yeah.
Like it's going to bring representation where it matters to the younger generation.
And also, guarantee you, she's already gotten paid.
Oh, yeah.
So I kind of doubt that Marvel makes deals where actors get a percentage of the gross revenue.
Yeah. Kanye too. You were talking about that. It's just like there is a lot to digest there, especially with Kanye. It's for the most part harmless.
Yeah. For the most part, I think he's just an asshole.
Yeah. And like I'm not gonna support Kanye. I don't give a shit. I like his old stuff, but that's mostly just nostalgia. And I think that a lot of people share that same idea. It's just like, if you are nostalgic for something that you grew up with and it becomes shitty, there's still that idea that's like, oh, I still like those years. I still like that.
Yeah. This is it's in the same line, so it's not really a derailment, but do you guys think that cancel culture is effective?
Well, just technically, I think it's very effective.
Generally speaking, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's generally the goal that is set out to do. If it gains enough internet traction, it does for sure. Which, if we're talking about individuals, like if a person says a really shitty thing and then the Twitter mob gets to it, usually that's gonna pull some advertisements from that person. Does it forward the goal of a more progressive and forward-thinking society?
See, that's
I don't necessarily know.
Yeah, that's kind of the $1 million question there.
Because with the big emblem of cancel culture, it has given something to rally against for the direct, antagonist to it. They don't want to listen; they just want to sort of beat against it. But
mob mentality.
Yeah.
Get the pitchforks and the torches.
I don't get how people like Jeff Bezos haven't been canceled.
Right? Well, it's because he controls all the money.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah.
Like he has enough money where he doesn't have to worry about being canceled.
Right.
When you're Lex Luthor, usually
Space Cowboy.
You're a space cowboy. Man.
That's actually a great point. I think that cancel culture doesn't necessarily have the teeth that people think it does.
Right.
Because, it is very effective at getting people to know, like, what person did what.
Disney's still a thing.
Yep.
Amazon's still a thing.
Yep. Mark Zuckerberg.
Lizard Man.
Yeah.
Berg.
Facebook's still a thing. The only times I think that it is really effective is when it's just about spreading information.
Yeah.
For people to make their own decisions. But like fucking, what was it, within the year? Louis C.K. had another Comedy Central show.
Again.
Yeah. he's touring again. Like, it hasn't affected his life, except for people now know that he's a sex offender.
Well, he lost my money, so he should be feeling sad.
I guarantee you he probably still sleeps exactly as well as he
Oh
had
yeah,
before.
no doubt. And that's the thing too. Like you said, is it all cancel culture does is it puts forth information, and then you make your own decision based on that.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, that brings me back to separating the art from the artist, because Louis C.K. is an example of someone where now I can't separate the art from the artist, and I think it's important that I don't.
Yeah.
And that could bring us into our topic of ethereal art, or is it ephemeral? One of those two. Do they mean the same thing? Ephemeral, yeah. So essentially, the idea that art is momentary, it exists in a certain time and place, and that it can only be enjoyed in that time and place. You see this a lot in performance art. So a lot of performance artists make ephemeral art, which will I'm trying to think of a good example. I know the Eiffel Tower was technically supposed to be ephemeral. It was just a sculpture that was put together for a time, and then it was going to be taken away.
Oh, yeah.
But people liked it so much that they kept it around.
Yeah.
I never knew that. That's really cool.
And a guy sold it a couple times.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, really funny and clever con man.
This is
Cannot remember his name, but like...
this is not really related, but there is a cruise ship that sank recently.
Oh.
Some guy put it on eBay.
Yeah.
Did they put the pictures of it at the bottom of the ocean?
Yeah. It said owner must retrieve at own cost or something like that. But
they sold it, right?
eBay took it down before.
Oh, dang it.
But there were definitely bids on it.
Oh, man.
But yeah, funny little anecdote there.
I like that.
But there is definitely art out there that is momentary, and it can only exist in that moment, and usually it only exists because of the artist. So in cases like that, can you really separate the art from the artist?
I think it has a lot to do with medium too.
Yeah.
When I see a painting, I'm not thinking about the person who painted it, you know?
Yeah.
But when I watch a comedian or I listen to a song, it is very hard not to at least mentally picture the person or someone singing it, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
And I think this is a big question. Can you make ephemeral art? Can you make ephemeral music now? Can you do that?
That's a great question.
Can a song or a performance just exist by itself now?
Yeah. Maybe like live performances?
Mm-hmm.
Well, but then that's still... Actually, I feel like with live performances, it would either be easier or harder. Because if you go see a live performance and you know nothing about like the performer's personal life or like, the things that they've done, then you are completely separate from them, even though you are experiencing that ephemeral art, and literally that moment will be there and gone. It's not like you're listening to a song that you can save on your computer or your phone. Like, that is a moment that, unless they're doing a live recording, like...
Well, even still, like enjoying that performance live versus enjoying it through a screen or something is definitely not going to be the same.
Yeah.
You're right. I think a live performance is very much an ephemeral experience.
Yeah.
Now that we put it in those terms.
But also, personally, if I know that like a musician or a performer is shitty, I'm not going to go see them.
Yeah, if I were to be plopped into a seat at a Louis C.K. comedy show, I wouldn't be like, "Wow, what a wonderful experience I'm having right now." You know,
get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
It has been about half an hour,
All right.
so we
Take
should
break time.
definitely take a break.
This week's episode is brought to you by Amazon. I'd
Well,
like to
that's
talk to you
just
about Audible for a moment.
That's just because literally almost everything is brought to you by Amazon.
rather than jumping back into it, I say we kind of ease into it. What have you guys been consuming lately? Media-wise, food-wise?
Oof.
Well, food-wise, I made a very nice cream of mushroom soup.
Ooh.
We got like 1.5 pounds of mushrooms. Found a recipe on the internet, which
Shit,
worked out very
nice.
well. One of the nice things I did differently in it was it called for red or white wine, and I used mirin instead, which
What's
is
mirin?
it's a Japanese rice wine
Oh,
that's mainly used for cooking,
okay.
and it turned out really nicely.
Nice.
So my fridge broke,
Oh no!
No.
and well, it didn't. So the freezer still works, but the fridge is like tepid at best. So we called our landlord or our property management company, who then told the landlord, "All right, we're gonna buy this fridge. You got to approve this estimate." And they said, "All right, cool. Your fridge will be here in 2 weeks."
What?
Yeah, so we've been rocking a cooler with ice, and yeah, it's been a whole thing. So I've been eating a lot of chicken wraps lately, some brats.
Nice.
That's what I've been doing.
You should get a mini fridge.
I know, I really want one too, and I thought I had one from college, but that probably got pawned off many years ago.
Yeah.
The one that I have upstairs, like $60.
Oh,
not
that's
even.
so good.
Yeah,
Nice.
it does its job
It refrigerates and it's mini.
as best it can.
Oh, I'm also consuming a Founder's Strawberry Mas Agave seltzer, which is pretty tasty.
It's not
Hear
alcoholic.
that, founders?
What? No, it is. It is alcohol.
It's not alcoholic.
Oh no, we definitely don't drink any alcohol ever.
What is this,
Especially
the
not
fucking
during the
30s?
podcast.
There's no prohibition going on. We can drink alcohol on this.
Because we were sponsored by Amazon.
You don't think Jeff Bezos has a little drinky drink every now and again?
He
I
has to
think he
be.
might actually be sober, but don't quote me on that.
Oh, God.
That dude is on PCP. I don't care. You don't
Did you
fucking
see
go
him
to
in the
space,
interview?
come back down with a cowboy hat, and not be on fucking some
Something
stimulant.
weird.
Did he enter the vessel with the cowboy hat?
I think he got it from the aliens that they
Okay.
met up
Mm.
in orbit.
Oh, that makes sense.
And the
Yeah.
aliens were just like, "This is gonna make this guy look like a huge tool."
And so it was. I have been consuming a lot of PSLs. It is finally that time
yes.
of year, my friends. It is Fat Boy Fall,
Nice.
and I got myself a PSL. The
What's
season
a
came early.
PSL?
It's a pumpkin spice latte,
Oh my god, that's
Yeah.
even the hip abbreviation for it.
or as I like to call it, we are PSLs. We are pretty sexy lads.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, no, it's finally starting to feel like spooky season,
Yes.
and that is my favorite type of season.
So I could talk about all the fun and insightful art that I've been consuming lately, but my life has lately been dominated by the fact that my work plays top 40 country music 5 days a week for 8 hours a day.
That's
Oh.
So I wanted to
alright.
play a quick game with you guys and see if you can pick out which is the wrong fake country song title out of the ones that I'll give you here.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
okay.
All right, so the first one is Beer Never Broke My Heart.
That's definitely real.
That's
I've
real,
heard it
for sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
cool. Okay. You guys passed that one. All right, you're warmed up. Let me give you some other ones. All
Okay,
right.
okay.
Breaking up was easy in the 90s. Stuck between a horse and a hard place. And my boy.
Huh. That one's so vague. I feel like it has to be real. I
This is hard.
mean, I don't want there to be a song between a horse and a hard place.
That's kind of what I'm leaning for. Might be the fake one.
Damn it, you guys are so good. You're so on the pulse of pop country music.
Thank
Let me
God.
tell you, it's been miserable, boys.
See, I got excited when you said you've been listening to a lot of country. I didn't realize that it was not by choice
No,
and not good country.
there's good there's good country out there, everybody,
yes.
and it's not Luke Bryan. It's not Luke Bryan, everybody.
This is very true.
Sorry, Beavis.
I have not experienced country nearly enough to find that good stuff yet. So if you guys have recommendations.
Absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
Johnny Cash is a good place to start.
Oh, sure. Like oldies, yeah, but
Yeah.
like modern stuff, I guess.
Chris Stapleton is pretty dang good.
Oh, that's right. He
Nice.
is country, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, everyone knows the big one by
The
him.
Justin Timberlake song.
Oh,
That's the only one I know.
Oh, well, he has a great song that you should definitely check out. It's like his big monster hit. I'm forgetting the title right now.
We can add it in post.
Yeah,
Just
Tennessee Whiskey.
Tennessee Whiskey. Oh, that's
Yeah.
him?
That's Chris
I
Stapleton.
thought that it was written by someone else.
It could be, but he's definitely the guy who's on the radio with Tennessee Whiskey.
Sure.
He's got pipes, dude.
That
Like
is
he does
true, yeah.
these like 1960s R&B vocal runs that like you could figure out every note he just sang if you slowed it down like 5%. It's insane.
Oh, yes.
He's insane.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't know if this band qualifies as country because I think they're mostly metal.
Rascal Flatts?
No. But have you ever heard of Zeal and Ardor?
No.
I wouldn't say they're country.
They're very country influenced.
True, yeah.
because they started out as a concept band. The band leader is actually, I think the entire band is from Sweden. The band leader was like on an online forum just asking for people's suggestions of like mixing
Mashups.
different styles of music.
Yeah.
And someone suggested mixing metal with old songs that started out as slave chants while they were working.
Like blues tunes?
No, like I'm thinking like We Shall Not Be Moved.
Oh, there's a very specific title for that
Right.
kind of music
Yeah.
too.
I can't
Like they'll
think of
use
it.
a lot of like chains as sound effects
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
And so that suggestion gave him the idea of what if instead of the slaves turning to God and Catholicism and Christianity, they turned to Satan and Satanism. And they are one of the most amazing bands. And they came out with an album last year that's all about police brutality in America. And I have to monitor how much I'm listening to it because it's amazing. They're fantastic fucking musicians, but if I listen to it for too long, I'm going to get too sad.
Are any of the musicians like people of color?
The lead singer is.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That'd be kind of a wild pull for a
Yeah.
bunch of all white Swedish
Yeah.
people.
But I'll send you some links because they kick my ass up and down the hall.
Hell yeah. And listeners, you're not getting these links. I'm holding on to these and I'm not going to share them.
Don't even try Googling them.
Don't even
We
try.
removed the search
Forget
engine.
everything that he just said.
This kind of segmentally leads into one thing that I want to talk about is separating bad art from good artists.
This is such an intriguing topic because you don't usually find bad art from
Right.
It doesn't usually get to the surface.
Because there's good people out there that are doing good things. It's just their art just isn't great.
Yeah.
Like Ringo Starr's MS Paint art, that kind of thing.
He's
Oh,
just
no,
doing his
Joey.
best.
Oh my God. All right, I'm going to have to look this up. It might,
Oh,
might
Joey.
make me sad, but
no one ever respected Ringo, but he
That's true.
never really did anything wrong,
yeah.
from what I know.
He's much richer than us or anyone else listening to this probably will ever be. So,
In my heart, I want to believe Ringo is good. I want to
Yeah.
believe in my heart that Ringo is good for sure.
A lot of rock and rollers are not good.
yes.
Yeah, I literally had a conversation with someone at work the other day when a Michael Jackson song came on, and he's like, "Man, it's kind of hard to listen to this, right?" He's like, "Yeah, but like we just listened to Def Leppard, dog. Like,
right.
like there's big stories of like how Def Leppard in between their sets would go underneath the stage or in the back room, and there'd just be groupies waiting for them, which is true.
Mhm.
But how old do you think the groupies were?"
Yeah.
Like, it's not to get graphic, but that's every rock band
Oh, yeah.
you could probably think of from
David
that time
Bowie
period.
too
Yep.
was I think he had a relationship with someone that was underage.
Yeah, the way that it was told to me was that this girl lied to him and said she was 15, and he said dope, and she was actually 13.
Yep. And also something I recently found out about David Bowie. He was pushing for England to go as far right as possible and said that England could, I can't remember the exact quote, but England could really use a fascist ruler.
What?
What? I need to find this quote in context. This is wild.
Yeah, he was a really big fan of Margaret Thatcher and thought that she could be pushed even farther right.
He really hated the COVID vaccine too.
I thought he did. He was dead before COVID.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I have no idea what his stance is on vaccines.
Well, that's
But I
Well,
wouldn't
as
be
everyone
surprised.
remembers his speech in Zoolander when he talks about how vaccines are just a big pharmaceutical ploy to get money. I remember that's my favorite scene from Zoolander.
Well, that was-
Zoolander 2, actually. Yeah.
But that was a deleted scene.
You're right. You're right. The theatrical cut didn't show that fucking brilliance.
He didn't think they were actually recording. They just had the camera on, and he just started going off. And they're like, "Should we get all this? Like, should we publish it?" And they're like, "Yeah, do it."
Just keep rolling. Just keep rolling.
Is it weird that Ben Stiller looks really uncomfortable during all this? And like, that's great. I love
He
that
kept
for this scene.
telling him to stop, and he just kept going. He's like,
Is it weird that David Bowie kept saying, "Shut up, Ben Stiller, I'm talking right now"? Is that breaking too much of a fourth wall?
I have to get this out now. It's like, Bowie, man, everyone's bummed out.
Who is a shitty artist? A good person who's made shitty art. To go back to your point, I'm sorry.
This is definitely my own opinion. I know that his music means so much to a lot of people, and I know that it did change the world, but I cannot stand listening to Bob Marley.
Ooh,
Like-
that is a hot take, and I love it.
Yeah, I really respect him as a person. I know that he was really influential and important, but I have left parties when they're playing the song Jammin' or
Ooh.
whatever it is.
Now, is it Bob Marley specifically, or is it reggae that you don't jive with particularly?
Bob Marley specifically, because he's definitely the most overplayed reggae. And like, I'm not a huge fan of reggae, but there have definitely been songs that I've liked and artists that I've liked. But yeah, I don't typically seek out reggae. Just Bob Marley is the one that everyone always plays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I don't really know any other reggae artists, really. Like, I know the genre, and I'm sure like I could point out a few songs, but I don't know anyone prominent in the reggae scene.
Yeah. It's definitely still alive and kicking.
Yeah,
Like,
It's way above my pay grade too. It is such a cultural and like country specific genre of music
Right.
that I can't name you any real good reggae artists either.
so if you guys know any, just hit us up.
Yeah.
at
Tell
our-
us about all the great reggae that we're missing in our lives.
I am willing to be pleasantly surprised.
That's
Absolutely.
Amateur Hour Pod on Twitter.
Please tweet at us.
I guess for me, I would say Robert Pattinson.
Oh.
Ooh.
I don't know anything problematic about him. Not to say that he isn't problematic, but I hate everything he's been in.
Even The Lighthouse?
Oh, that's fucking right.
That's Rob Pat.
Except for that.
I
Except for
still
that.
haven't seen that yet. And
Oh,
also,
it's
he's
so-
the new Batman.
He is,
And
the
he
new,
is-
but I haven't seen it.
That's true.
Have you seen the trailer for the
No.
new Batman?
There's a new trailer.
For Rob Pattinson's Batman?
No.
This came out when I was definitely not on a psychotropic experience, and it came out, and we watched it,
Oh,
and
shit.
I had a
Oh,
very
man.
religious experience. It was
It's
amazing.
been in the works for a while too.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, he got COVID during the filming of.
Oh, man.
It's coming out March 2022. I will show you the trailer after we're done
Okay,
here,
all
and
right.
I think it'll add another thing to be excited for Rob Pat.
Fuck
But
yeah.
is it because of Twilight?
Is there anything else that he's been in other than Twilight?
A lot of indie films for sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's never done
sure.
anything high caliber like Twilight in terms of box office stuff.
And I guess you could argue that like it wasn't necessarily his fault.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm sure
he hated Twilight.
He's a great actor. Just the script wasn't great. The
Mhm.
art there wasn't great.
Apparently, when him and Kristen Stewart were recording behind the scenes, they watched the movie and add their commentary. Apparently, he was just ripping it apart the entire time. And also, it starts out, I haven't watched or read Twilight, and I haven't
Same.
experienced this actor commentary myself. But apparently, it starts off with Kristen Stewart going, "Are you drinking beer?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Are you not?
I have to watch fucking Twilight. What do you mean? Yeah, I'm duh. Hey, Kristen. Hey, duh.
It's just like, I brought enough for both of us. Like, I thought that this was a thing.
You really think this was all for me?
I think it's hard for me to think of a good person who makes shitty art because I only know artists by the art that I like. The closest thing I can think of is like shitty albums by bands that I like.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like really disappointing albums, the newer Fall Out Boy albums,
Mhm.
which is an Ouroboros here because there's some shitty people in Fall Out Boy too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember being so excited for the album with the Phoenix and stuff on it, the newer Fall Out Boy stuff, before they started not being like the pop punk people that they used to be.
Sure.
I was like freshman in college and I was like so fucking ready. And I was like, what is this? Where is the pop punk drums? What is this sequenced bullshit? And like Uma Thurman's kind of a slap. Like the song Uma Thurman, that's pretty good.
Is that the one where she wants to dance like Uma
Yeah,
Thurman?
with the
That's
Monsters
Fall Out
themes.
Boy?
That's Fall Out Boy, dog.
What?
That's yeah. Listen to Sugar We're Going Down Swinging, and then listen to Uma Thurman.
Oh, that makes me sad.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Just thinking of actors who I don't particularly like, but I know for the most part was a good person. Another example is Ashton Kutcher. He also hasn't been in anything in a really long time.
Yeah.
And that's because he's been doing a lot of charity work and actually law work to fight against sex trafficking. Yeah, like he, I believe, actually spoke in front of Congress saying that we need to be doing more to fight sex trafficking.
I think he has a whole foundation to help stop sex trafficking. I think that's kind of like been his second calling in life.
Yeah.
He may have also done something. Hey, people listening, if he's done something shitty, I just don't know about it.
He's very dirty in the sense that he won't shower.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that's this thing. He doesn't wash his kid, right?
Yeah,
Like
him and Mila don't wash their kids until they're itching and scratching.
Oh.
And it's like once or twice a week. Maybe.
I mean, I did that camping recently. I took a once a week shower.
Not to say that, like, if you are in a position where you can't shower, shame on you. But, like, if you're as rich as they are and you're not showering your goddamn kids, that's an issue.
Yeah, and I'm sure that they might also have, like, nannies and things with the amount of money that both of them have.
Right.
Oh, no, they don't wash their kids. Yeah. When their kids get washed, it's not Ashton Kutcher washing. For sure not.
Probably not.
I'm trying to think of any other actual artists that have made shitty art. And I know there are definitely examples that I can think of, like paintings and stuff, but I can't think of anything like in the music industry, or I can't think of anything in the design field.
Well, actually, this brings up an interesting point. I really don't like Picasso that much, but I understand that he had inarguable influence on the art world. But then also he turned out to be kind of a shitty dude also.
Yeah, he stole a lot of influence from black culture.
Yep.
And didn't really cite it at all.
Yeah.
I think a big takeaway from today is that humans are generally shitty.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of these shitty humans make things that we enjoy.
Yeah.
I know that's like partly a joke, but yeah, don't meet your heroes.
Don't ever do it.
Because everyone is just human, no matter how good they may appear.
Yep.
Hey, remember that our other podcast is They Might Be Giants fan podcast? So there's a great section in the They Might Be Giants documentary DVD called A Tale of Two Johns, where they talk about how when they got signed to Elektra Records, their agent was like, we know that you guys love Elvis Costello. We got him to produce your next album. And they were like, fuck no. Whoa. Do not bring Elvis Costello to produce this album. They were like,
what?
Like, he's great and all, but like we in no way want to have that sort of shattered for us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
makes sense,
and to have the shadow of their hero looming over them as they're like engaging in the creative process and stuff. It's not like they'd be writing songs with them. It's like Elvis Costello telling them that take was pretty good, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it, man.
One of the only heroes that I could think of where it seems like it would be pretty pleasant if I wasn't meeting them, running up and being like, oh my God, I'm a big fan. I feel like it would be a pretty cool time to just like sit and have coffee with Tom Waits.
Oh yeah.
And
our
like
other
throwback.
podcast.
Yep. Like start the counter.
It's been 0 episodes.
And like one of the things I know about him is that now he hates touring. I think he might have always hated touring, which is unfortunate because I would pay a lot of money to see him live. But he seems like the type of person that's most comfortable in his garage or like in his house. And
Here,
so, like,
my garage.
Yep. So like if I could like go and like hang out with him at his house and he's just like, oh yeah, this is a weird thing that I made. What do you think? And I'm just like, oh, that's sweet. Okay, cool. Like hanging out with Tom Waits. I think that would be a blast.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Tom Waits could tell you a story that maybe felt like an hour, but you spent 24 hours listening to him talk.
Actually,
Absolutely.
it's funny because I know someone, he's a friend of my family, who actually did get to meet Tom Waits because Tom had like just produced an album in Minneapolis, or he was touring. I can't remember what it was, but this was many years before any of us were born, the late 80s or early 90s. So maybe not that long before we were born. But anyway, I'm actually going to take a drink.
We're leaving this in.
My town
With a little drop of poison. Hey, Joey, check out my macadamia art.
And he left with my art.
I love you guys. This friend of my family, I'm not going to say his full name, but his name's Tom also.
Tom Waits.
It's
Coincidentally.
Tom Waits.
Yeah.
not. He had like either like helped record an album, like just been on like one song, or like been a backup guitarist while Tom was in town. I can't remember the exact story. He ended up being invited to like the rap party or whatever that was.
Shit.
They bought out this diner that's not there anymore in downtown Minneapolis. And apparently like the party's going on. My friend notices that Tom Waits is just like kind of sitting off by himself. Doesn't seem like he's having a good time. So like Tom Waits, or no, my friend
It
Tom.
was Tom Waits.
Yeah, but it's spelled Weights.
He's jacked. He's fucking yoked.
We call him Tom Swole as a nickname. But my family friend goes over to Tom Waits and is like trying not to be starstruck and just like talk to him like a normal person, just like, hey, are you having a good time? He's like, oh, no, not really. And like they get to chatting just about playing guitar. And Tom Waits eventually is like, oh, do you play dice? Like, do you gamble with dice?
Oh my God.
And my family friend is like, yeah, like I do every now and again. And according to my family friend, you never use someone else's dice when you're playing dice. And Tom Waits was like, do you mind if I use my dice?
Oh, fucking shithead.
And my family friend, being starstruck, was like, yeah, sure. And the way he says it is like, and for the rest of the evening, Tom Waits took my money.
You think Tom Waits used weighted dice? His own brands of weighted dice?
I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't put it past him, but I feel like it wouldn't be something he would do often. But it's also
That's something
very-
a Tom Waits character would do.
definitely. But also I think it would be very in line with him that he's just really good at playing dice, which is a game of chance, so you can't be good at it, but fuck it, it's Tom Waits.
Tom Waits made a dark wager years and years ago for to be forever favored in games of chance like dice.
He likes his dice with a little drop of mercury.
Ding, how many Tom Waits songs references did we get?
Oh, man, at least 5.
Have you guys ever met tangentially a celebrity? Like,
Oh.
Yes. I went to a convention and I met Chewbacca.
Nice.
Oh.
And I met Linda Blair.
okay.
Oh.
I was supposed to meet Sam Remus because they were supposed to be the Boondock Saints. Is his name Sam Remus? What's his name?
Norman Reedus.
Norman Reedus. I was supposed to meet Norman because he played Sam in a Death Stranding, in a Strand type game that everyone loves.
Apparently, he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, I would have loved to meet him, but they didn't show up, so I had to make do with Linda Blair, who I'd only seen The Exorcist maybe once in my young life at that point, so wasn't as starstruck as I could have been.
Was that the main character? In
She's the little girl in The Exorcist.
Reagan.
Reagan?
That's her name.
Sure. Okay. I've met Dessa.
Yeah. Nice.
She was eating sushi in the booth behind us. Yeah, I was actually on a double date with someone, and they were like completely starstruck over Dessa, and I had no idea who she was at the time. But yeah, she like got people's photos and she got a couple autographs. I didn't actually like say hi or anything. It was too fearful. But eventually I did end up going to like a meet and greet
Nice.
at the orchestra, and I did see her again, I guess.
Nice.
Awesome. Actually, very similar to that. There was about a year or so where I had an internship at Rhymesayers. It was pretty much just taking old backlogs of concert tapes and then digitizing them. And I really wish that I had remembered what I said, because I was doing this digitizing work and like kind of half listening to a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I just added in a snarky comment, and one of the people starts laughing, and I look up and it's Slug from Atmosphere.
No.
And I was just like, I just fucking made fun of Slug, and okay, he's being cool about it. I made him laugh. I'm just gonna go shit myself and die.
You actually made fun of him?
Yep.
Like, who's this asshole?
But then, like, he was there just, like, talking to his friends from Rhymesayers. Eventually, he, like, came by my station and was like, oh, hey, I haven't met you. Like, what are you doing here? And I was just like, oh, I'm just digitizing stuff. And a lot of these are old concert tapes of you. And he, like, looks over at the screen and was like, oh, yeah, that's back when I was skinny.
And then he looks around and says, are we alone now? I remember that shit you fucking said to me.
I kind of wish. Like, I definitely would have pissed myself, but, like...
Your name's Joey Knoxcar, right?
Yeah.
I looked you up. You're a part of my world now.
I'm gonna make you pay for making me look like a clown.
Well,
What were we talking about?
we were talking about how Tom Waits made a dark deal with the devil.
Yeah. Oh, but
fair.
we were actually talking about, like, meeting celebrities. One celebrity that I have met that I do not look up to in any way, shape, or form is Scott Seekins.
Oh, God.
I don't know who that is.
Keep it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
He's just a guy that walks around Minneapolis and he's dressed a certain way, and that's all he's famous for.
Yeah. He is technically an illustrator and a painter and a performance artist.
I dare you to show me any of his art.
Well, there's a lot of portraits that he's done of Britney Spears,
Oh, great.
and also of him meeting Britney Spears
Okay.
and Britney Spears being in love with him.
Oh.
Oh.
He's an interesting character.
So he's a fan fiction author.
pretty much. But yeah, he got famous because in winter he wears all black and in summer he wears all white.
I thought
And
he
that's-
wore all white all the time.
No,
Forgive me,
That's-
Scott.
honestly, the main reason why he's famous,
Sure.
but I despise him.
I can't wait till we make an episode of or artists that we absolutely hate,
Yeah.
that we can't
Oh.
stand.
I forgot the story of when I actually met him.
Oh, you actually met him?
Yeah. We had to do a photo assignment. The teacher knew him by proxy.
Mm-hmm.
And so he came in and modeled for us. And that was one of the main reasons why I dislike him so much, is because I just didn't like the vibe he was putting off. But also, the first time that I saw him and recognized him in public was touring at MCAD and being shown through the studios. And he was going in and stealing paint from students' desks.
Yeah, I remember that story.
Yep.
Not only that, but he'll just walk out on tabs. He'll go to places, order a shit ton of stuff for him and his groupies, and then just not pay.
Damn, I thought Scott was cool up to this point. Shit.
Allegedly.
Hey,
I
Scott,
guess.
if you're listening, come on the podcast.
No.
Let's hear your side of the story and all this.
I
Let's
don't-
talk about the paint that you may or may not have stolen, and let's talk about the tabs that you walked out of. I think that'd be really good content.
If we have him on the podcast, can it just be an hour of me hitting him with a rubber mallet?
Wow. This is a different podcast now, man.
It's just a recording
It's
of a
ASMR.
Fight Club.
It's just a snuff film. It's just a snuff recording. I love this energy that you're bringing to the table. I love it.
It's ASMR.
It's it's spooky ASMR. It's spooky, violent ASMR. It's the ASMR they show to FBI training candidates to desensitize them to terrible, terrible things they'll
Oh my
experience.
God.
Thank you, Joey.
I am not a particularly violent man.
You're the least violent man I know.
That's not true. You're actually one of the few people that I've almost gotten into a fight with. But
Yeah.
Ooh,
was-
that's content. Hold on.
We both had our reasons.
Was it over dice?
No.
No, but it was definitely after way too many. What's it called when you drop a shot of whiskey into
A bomb.
into hard cider?
Was that what it was?
Yeah, we had like 6 of those each.
I don't think I've ever drank as much as I did that day,
Yeah,
but it is one of the only times that we've ever actually like been close to fisticuffs.
yeah.
Wow.
That's definitely the last time that I've been close to fisticuffs in any manner, where it's not just some random person shouting at me, but
that wasn't the same time that Joey gave me a scar. That was a different time.
oh yeah, that was a very happy time.
Yeah, the complete opposite.
Whoa, let's save this content for another episode. This one was at a McDonald's.
This was over Thanksgiving, actually.
Yeah.
At McDonald's?
I wish.
No, at my apartment, and also partially at a
McDonald's?
bar.
I think Michael just wants McDonald's.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. This week's episode has been sponsored by Burger King, everyone. All right. I think we've tackled this maybe as best we can possibly do.
Absolutely.
This is a big topic and perhaps a bit above our pay grade, but I think the idea of can you enjoy art made by shitty people is, like we said, the answer is yes, but man, it really depends.
Yeah.
Trust your conscience.
And I think one of the most important parts about that is, trusting your conscience, having it weigh on your conscience.
Acknowledge and not admire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And be aware of the things that these people have done and don't just be in denial about it.
The influence that these people have is almost better than the art itself because it helps other people, other artists make better art.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a bunch of artists out there that you should go support that aren't shitty.
Yeah.
So,
Like
there's that.
Antonio.
Like
No.
Antonio.
No.
This
no.
week's episode has been sponsored by
Please don't commission
Antonio.
me. I don't do commissions anymore. Please don't.
He will do commissions if you pay me first,
yeah.
and then I will redirect the funds from there.
Yep.
All right. Before we head out, where can they find us, guys?
Oh man, I don't know if I want to plug my Twitter.
That's fine. You can plug whatever you want. You can definitely find this podcast at Amateur Hour Pod at Twitter, and then
Yes.
probably on YouTube or Spotify, whatever we decide to release it on. We haven't released a single episode yet, but we will.
By the time you're
we're working
hearing
on it.
this, we're tens of thousands of listeners.
Yes, absolutely.
Damn right. Yep. And we love some of you.
We love you.
I love none of you. Get your parasocial fucking relationships away from me. You're not my fucking friend. We're not friends. You can follow me at Twitter at Sully
Fuck you,
_
follow me.
Wazowski 1. I mostly post about how the COVID vaccine is a fucking hoax and how cube theory is the defining feature of the universe. Follow me there at Sully _ Wazowski 1.
Yeah, your rant about how flat Earth theory is correct, but not in the way that most people think it is, was very interesting.
I'm actually more about the triangle Earth now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Pyramid Earth.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Is that related to the Illuminati, or is that a different topic?
The Illuminati is a red herring for the real group controlling the Earth, which is
The geese people.
yes.
The geese people, yes. Okay. You can find me at Twitter at Tectonio. Actually, you can find me on any social media at Tectonio.
Actually, now that I think about it, you can follow me on Twitter at JBoxcar with 2 R's. Mostly, I'm kind of funny sometimes. Sometimes I get a little too inebriated and go on sad rants. But mostly I'm funny.
Or don't follow us. I don't know. Do you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I really want Twitter fame.
Awesome. Well,
You can find me on the basketball court. I challenge you to a 1-on-fucking-1. Let's go.
Find Michael on the basketball court at 3 a.m. That's the only time he ever does it.
Any final closing words of advice, guys?
Oh, yeah. Words of wisdom. Wash your butthole.
Oh.
And
This energy.
Don't be
is-
Ashton Kutcher.
I actually have thought about this as words of wisdom
Okay.
because there's a very strange sect of, I believe, mostly men who think that it's gay to touch your own butthole. And first of all,
it is.
why are you so worried about being gay? Explore your sexuality. Like, come on.
That shit's homo, dude.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the point. But yeah, wash your butthole. Like, There's some people where
Please
it's
do.
even so bad where they won't wipe because they think that's gay.
No.
Bro.
And yeah,
Joey
they-
says, wipe your butthole, no
Yeah.
homo.
wipe your butthole, wash your butthole, but also when you're washing your butthole in the bath or shower, be careful about what products you use.
Don't put soap in your ass.
Yep, because some soaps and body washes can be very harmful to soft tissue, and you may cause some problems down there, and no one wants that.
What are you supposed to use if not soap?
Rinse your ass.
Yes,
Rinse your ass.
Okay.
thoroughly. Like,
Gotcha.
there are, it's actually a surprisingly recent development where like body washes and things are now like, or certain ones are designed to be used on soft tissue.
On buttholes.
Yes.
Please
don't
use the clinical term. Please, it's your stinky poop hole.
No, I'm not going to the proctologist. I'm going to the butt doctor.
I don't think I have any more useful advice than that. Nothing could be more useful than that advice.
My advice to you is really just the advice of a wise man named Del the Funky Homo sapien,
Oh,
who
yes.
once said, "You got to wash your ass if you must."
Damn. That's poignant.
Yeah, and
It's
very.
got me tearing up, man. Del, you beautiful bastard.
And that's our show.
Good night,
Welcome
folks.
to Asshole Hour. Goodbye.
What do you want from me? I'm just an amateur, baby.